Have you ever asked yourself how many ants are in the world? If you have ever had an ant infestation, you might assume that 1/4 of all ants in the world are in your kitchen. But actually, that many ants probably wouldn't fit. You live in a world where ants outweigh every other individual animal species total, except for microorganisms, unless you happen to be located in Antarctica where there are no ants. In this video, we're going to discuss Earth's ant population of 20 quadrillion, outnumbers humans by 2.5 million times. The video is going to be amazing, so make sure you stick to the end. Picnickers beware, there are at least 20 quadrillion ants on Earth, new research reveals. That's 20 million billion, or 2.5 million ants for every single human alive. If every ant was taken and dried up, they would collectively weigh 12 megatons. That's more than all the world's wild birds and mammals have taken together. It's equivalent to roughly 1/5 of total human biomass. It's unimaginable, ant researcher Patrick Skolscheis of the University of Würzburg in Germany tells the Washington Post's Dino Grandoni. We simply cannot imagine 20 quadrillion ants in one pile, for example. It just doesn't work. To reach their staggering conclusion, Skolscheis and a team of researchers analyzed 489 studies that surveyed ant populations around the world. These papers represented at least 7 languages and various habitat types, including forests, deserts, grasslands, and cities. A 2019 study found that since the 1970s, up to half of the world's insects may have disappeared, Insider previously reported. But when it comes to ants, we have no idea, Skolscheis said. With more than 12,500 known species, ants are present on almost every continent, according to antmaps.org, a site that shows where ants have been spotted in the world. An average ant colony can contain 250,000 individuals, Insider previously reported. But ants are vital players in nearly every ecosystem. By tunneling in the dirt, they aerate the ground, helping water and oxygen to reach the roots of plants. They prey on pests, move seeds around through their tunnels, and clean up the decaying matter, assisting in nutrient cycling. Given the significance of ants, it's important that we can properly measure them. This new study will provide researchers with a baseline to assess the impact of climate change on these important insects. Knowledge of the distribution and abundance of organisms is fundamental to understanding their roles within ecosystems and their ecological importance, the study authors write. Ant biomass is around 20% of human biomass, or the mass of carbon, from the nearly 8 billion humans now living on Earth. The ant biomass also weighs around 12 megatons, which is about the equivalent of 2 pyramids of Giza on a scale. Their estimate, published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, assembled censuses of ants living or foraging at the surface that scientists had previously produced around the world. In more than 1,300 locations, ants were collected from leaf litter samples or in pit traps, which they fall into while foraging. The researchers used those counts to estimate the abundance of ants in different environments, including tropical forests and arid shrublands. The study used a logical, solid approach, said Sanders, who was not involved in the study, but it hadn't been done before. Previous measures of global ant population and biomass have been either approximated based on the planet's total insect population or extrapolated from particular parts of the world. Estimates for ants' total biomass had a wide range from 2.5 megatons of carbon to 70 megatons. The new study instead took a bottom-up approach, compiling all of the existing ant counts the authors could find and working up from there. Ants are the movers and shakers of ecosystems, said Nate Sanders, an ecologist at the University of Michigan. Sanders said that the study's approach is something that you can actually look at and logically get to the same point the authors got. Knowing anything about them helps us understand how ecosystems are put together and how they work. I would argue most ecosystems would simply collapse without ants, said Patrick Skolscheis. The true number of ants is almost certainly higher than 20 quadrillions because the new calculations only included a conservative estimate for arboreal ants and excluded subterranean ants altogether, Skolscheis said. Ants are crucial in keeping our environments healthy, according to the website of the Harvard Forest. They aerate the ground, which means water and oxygen can reach the roots of plants. They move seeds around and take them down to their tunnels, where they often sprout new plants. They prey on pests and keep forests clean by eating up rotting wood and other decaying materials. and they're an important food source for other animals, including sometimes humans. Ants can be found in nearly all habitats except for polar regions, according to the study. Forests and arid parts of the planet had the most ant specimens, while tropical zones had the highest density of ant populations, the researchers found. Our results show that the numbers of ants are highest in the tropics, which include areas facing some of the strongest pressures from human disturbances and environmental change, Wong said in the statement. Before we move on, support us by hitting the subscribe and bell icons to get notified when we post new videos. Now let's get back to our topic. The scientists called a new estimate conservative and said more research is needed to assess the role that ants play in their terrestrial ecosystems. Per hectare, ants move up to 13 tons of soil mass per year. Study lead author Patrick Schultheis, a biologist at the University of Würzburg in Germany, said in a statement. As such, they have a great influence on maintaining the nutrient cycle and also play a decisive role in the distribution of plant seeds. Ants dislike being wet in general. They thus have various creative escape plans and survival techniques for when it rains. Ants stockpile more food, construct taller walls around the ant nest, and cover the nest entrance before the rainy season starts, according to ant studies. Ants become slower when the weather becomes colder because their body temperatures decrease. To save body heat and energy for the winter, ants in colder areas consume more in preparation. They then burrow into the earth and huddle together. Chilly winter in an ant colony results in little activity. However, the ants may not hibernate if they reside in a more moderate environment. If ants are trapped in a flood of strong rain, they may still have a chance of survival. They can't rise above the sea because they're too light. Because of this, they can walk on water. When confronted with a torrent of rain, fire ants, being the communal unit they are, go even farther and form a raft by holding together. Previous studies have had worrying outlooks for the world's insect populations. A series of studies published in January 2021 in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences found that climate change, invasive species, light pollution, changes in agriculture, and the use of insecticides and herbicides are collectively causing the loss of around 1 to 2% of Earth's insects each year. A separate study published in April 2020 in the Journal of Science found that the planet has lost more than 1/4 of its land-dwelling insects in the past 30 years. Ants provide key ecological services, not only in natural systems, but also in our farms, plantations, parks, and cities. So it is in our best interest to monitor populations and investigate how they're responding to warming climates, Wong said. If you're squeamish about insects, the mind-boggling figure might make your skin crawl. While 20 quadrillion ants may sound like a mind-bogglingly high number, this estimate is probably low for the conversation. In most studies, the team analyzed sampled ants only from the ground layer, omitting ants in the trees and underground. But regardless, Wong tells CNET this study provides an important baseline population which will help scientists understand how ant numbers are responding to environmental shifts such as climate change. So that's it. Please like, share, and comment your thoughts below if you liked this video. Remember to subscribe to see our next video. Stay safe, and we will be back soon with another video.